Look at that. That's the first snow that I've seen this year. That's great. Look, it's snowing from the trees. Luckily, it's not that cold out. But it's funny how fast you can adapt. Literally just a week ago, maybe even less, if I was dressed like this and there's snow out here, I'd be freezing my ass off and complaining. If you're Canadian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, as soon as it's fall and the temperature starts to go down, suddenly it's like it's toque weather. And the other side around, when it's like becoming spring and suddenly it gets like, oh, it's plus 5 degrees out, it's like, put the t-shirt on, we're gonna get some sunshine. This is a nice trail, so I just figured I'd go for a walk and do a little talk. Thanks for joining me. The message today is that you can do whatever you want. Like, seriously, man. You can do whatever you want. Like right now, I could just, after this, I could go punch a baby in the face and smoke some crack. Of course, those are extreme examples of things that I have no intention of doing, but the point is, people often confuse their fear, and specifically the fear of consequences, over the actual ability to do something. One of the harsh examples of this, in my opinion, was during the pandemic. Whether you wanted to get the old shot, the medical procedure or not, doesn't matter. But either way, I don't care. It's up to the individual. And that was the crazy thing, is so many of the people, though they didn't want to get the shot, and they did it anyway. And why? And almost every single person I asked, they would say, well, because I had to. But they didn't, actually. Because I know lots of people that didn't. And I know some people that even took some serious consequences for it. They lost their job, or they lost a lot of friends. Were they even friends in the first place if they're willing to just throw away a friendship over a personal difference like that? Probably not. Probably better off without them. That's why I don't have friends. I'm just joking. I don't have any fake friends, though. Fake friends I don't really have a use for. Let's be honest. Everyone just needs like pretty much 1 or 2 good friends. And everyone needs someone, maybe like me, they'll just point out when you're being a little bitch. When you're just being scared. Because right now in our world, fear is taking over, man. People just spend too much time on their cell phones or reading the news, getting all worked up about things that aren't actually in their immediate reality. And that's a crazy thing too, is in a real sense, we don't all live in the same world. You know? We kind of all create our own realities, and when we're around other people, we negotiate the realities with them. But that's a funny thing to think for me, is what if you just stop paying attention to all the fear? Like, what if we just ignored all of it, you know, and we had a good energy? If everyone just had a good energy and optimism instead of fear, what kind of world would that create? It's interesting to think, you know. I think it would just be a world where people would do more of what they want. And that's always been a funny thing too. Like, most of what spiritual people or philosophical people always say, it's like agreed upon by most people. And the pushback against things like you don't have to work are always brainwash and indoctrinated reasoning rather than legitimate reasoning. Because the reality is you don't have to work. The reality is you have to create value, whatever that is. Whether it's art, whether it's helping people, walking dogs, picking up garbage. If you create value, there's almost always a way to monetize it, especially if you want to, if that's your goal, right? And look at, I'm just getting covered in wet snow. This is great. But I'm just using this as an example because that's also one of people's biggest fears, like with the pandemic thing. Like, oh, I can't lose my job. Yeah, but maybe that fear is irrational, right? Because maybe the thing you should really be afraid of is if you don't lose your job. Like, most people, they'll be in a situation where they're miserable, they hate their job, and they're tired of it, they're bored of it, they don't like the people they work with anymore. They feel underpaid, underappreciated, but they're too scared to take the chance to go do something else. Because their bigger fears for some reason are, well, what if I quit and I can't find another job? What if I quit and it turns out I don't have the right skills, and then all of a sudden I have to go into financial debt to go to school and upgrade my skills? Or what if I need to start at the bottom somewhere else all over again? Can I do that at this age? Is that feasible? Like, what if you don't lose your job and you stay at your job where you're miserable and you hate it, and you stay there for 20 more years of misery? That should be just as big, if not even a bigger fear than all the other things. It's like this great quote that Jordan Peterson always says. The devil, don't be so sure that the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't. And that's exactly true. Like, at the end of the day, if you're in a bad situation, it's almost always worth the chance to try to change it. Because you don't know what's better. You don't. You really don't. You don't know the future. Unless perhaps you are some sort of enlightened being and you can see into the future. But if that's the case, then you probably won't have any trouble making big life decisions like that. So I know that's not the case for most people. Because I'm like most people, I guess. I can, of course, visualize the future, and in exactly that way. Like, if I'm at a job and things start going downhill, I'm already looking for a way out. Because what good is it going to do me to stay there and keep going down? If I can see that things are getting worse, then you know it's time to leave. And that's the crazy thing too. Like, at the end of the day, so many people I think are absolutely miserable working, but they stay working mostly because of fear, right? And one of the biggest fears, I guess, is, well, I'll have no money, I'll be on the street. That's a crazy thing to say, or this is a crazy thing to say, but maybe that's not the worst thing that could happen to you. You don't know. You just don't actually know. And that's the point, is take a chance. Stop being so afraid. And realize that you can do whatever you want, as I say. And think about this. Fear is such a great motivator. Fear is keeping you in your job that you hate. Like, think about, you have a visceral distaste for your job, and you're forcing yourself to go there because you're afraid of the consequences if you don't. What if you use that motivation? What if you were just as afraid of being miserable, just as afraid of not achieving your dreams as you were losing your job? What if all of that fear was directed in another way? What if you were way more afraid of not living to your full potential? What if you were way more afraid of not chasing your dreams? Then what would you do? Maybe suddenly the job that's making you miserable isn't the most important thing in your life anymore. And I know, like, a lot of people, they use their responsibilities as excuses. And of course there's some reasoning to that. Like, if you have a family, maybe it's a bit more complicated to just up and quit your job. Like, if you have other people depending on you. But the deeper thing behind that is if you have faith in yourself and the people that depend on you have faith in you, who's to say that you can't succeed at whatever it is that you're going to go and try and take on? Plus, if you're in an ideal situation, you have supportive family, and, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make as much money because I have to chase this dream because I know that it's better for myself. Maybe they'll find a way to support that. At the end of the day, whatever it is that you do, if you're doing the best that you can for yourself, that's also how you do the best for everyone else. It's like that old airplane metaphor. When the plane loses altitude or whatever it is, loses cabin pressure, the masks come down. And they say, always put your own mask on first, because if it's actually losing pressure so fast that, like, it sucks the air out of your lungs or something, and you don't get that mask on right away, then you pass out. Then you can't help put your child's mask on. You know this, right? And that's the deeper point to this, is you are the most optimal and most helpful to other people when you are the same way to yourself. And that's the way you have to treat yourself too. You have to treat yourself like you love yourself. Like you're someone that you have to take care of. That's one of the best possible ways of looking at things in most cases. Think, if I was responsible for myself, which you are, but as a third person, if I was my friend looking in on what I'm doing right now, what would I want for me? You know? Because it's hard to know too what you want. And that's why you just got to take chances as well. That's why you can't be afraid to make mistakes. Sometimes the thing that you most wish to find is in the place that you least wish to look. So they say. I like these idioms because some of them just ring eternally true, right? Man, I'm a little bit out of breath because I'm talking and walking, I guess. But not smoking today, so I'm doing good. I'm not smoking because I'm scared of what's going to happen. Just kidding. That's another thing. Everyone's like scared of getting hurt, scared of dying. There's just too much information out there now. Don't eat this food, it's bad for you. Like, at the end of the day, it's arguable, in my opinion, that the fear is just as toxic as a lot of the actual stuff out there that's causing the fear. Or rather, it's worse in a situation where, like, some people are sitting at home in a completely safe neighborhood, in a completely safe house, and they're watching the news and thinking, wow, this country is so dangerous, because they see that someone got murdered in the city. Oh, I can't go outside now. People are getting shot left, right, and center. It's crazy. It's crazy, like, too, because when you go to other countries, especially like countries that have extreme crime and violence, or places that aren't considered safe at all, there's still a ton of people living their normal lives out there. Because what are you going to do? And obviously that's not optimal. But the point is that they're able to live the best life that they can despite the circumstances, because they overcame the fear that's holding them back. That's pretty much it. That's exactly another good example is people just watching the news and, oh, I can't go traveling, can't leave my country because it's too dangerous out there, you know, can't go visit this country because there's Muslims there, can't go to this country because there's too many gypsies or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm just imagining what someone might think. Because it's true, like, people are just brainwashed by fear. And it's really just you keeping yourself in a box. Like, the thing that's blocking you is your own mind. Yeah. So how do you overcome fear? You know, that's a good question. I feel like I should enlighten you somehow, because I've just been going on about how, oh, you shouldn't fear stuff, you shouldn't be afraid. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's all well and good, but I am afraid. What is actually the key to overcoming fear? Just numb yourself with drugs. Actually, no, that's obviously a joke. No, realistically, from a psychological standpoint, the best that I can say is you do exposure therapy. Something like this. I think that's what they call it. But essentially, it's like, there's this example this psychologist used. He had a patient who was afraid of elevators. So, obviously, that's a bit of an irrational fear, right? Then again, elevators, you know, it is like a coffin. You go in there, the door closes, and you're just in a tomb, and it plummets to the ground. That could happen. So, there's some grounds to that fear. Fair enough. So you're not just going to tell the person, you're a big old baby, that's why you're afraid of elevators, you idiot. Even if that's kind of true. But they can't see that there's no reason to fear the elevator. So what do you do? Well, he said, the psychologist, that he took his client into the hallway, said, okay, can you just look at the elevator without like freaking out? Like just look down the hall and see the elevator. Yeah, okay, I see the elevator. I'm not having a panic attack. Okay, good, that's it. That's all for today, okay? Then the next session, can we walk up to the elevator? Okay, yeah, I guess we can walk up to the elevator here without having a mental breakdown or whatever. That's better. Okay. Next day, can we just like open the elevator door and just look inside? Just look inside, just look around, see that it's just an elevator. It's not like Iron Maiden ready to, publicly execute you in this office building. Just look around and, okay, I looked in the elevator. I didn't have a complete breakdown. And you just keep building up. You see the point. Eventually, the person can you ride one level? Can you go up the elevator one level without having a complete mental breakdown? Oh, you did that now, okay. Or maybe you can't. Maybe we back off. Maybe we just stand in the elevator until we can develop that. And really, the whole point of this too, as simple as it is to overcome your fears, you have to face your fears. That's literally all there is to it at the end of the day. But my advice is, don't jump in necessarily. It's one little thing at a time. Pick the least scary thing that you're scared of and start there. Because anywhere is a good place to start. Oh. Whew. Yeah. This is going pretty good, I think, getting some good exercise here. I could see my breath there for a second. It's not that cold, but it's pretty damp, I guess. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you somehow. Or maybe it just made you more scared and feel bad about yourself. I hope that's not the case. No, I'm just joking, yo. But if you're going to take anything away from this, it's just don't give in to the fear. Or if you're going to be afraid of the right thing. Be afraid of the devil you know. Maybe take a chance on the one you don't. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.